So welcome back, everybody. I want to talk about creationism. And here we see a picture that in the context of the Renaissance, I guess it was painted around the 16th century by Michelangelo. Is it Michelangelo, the 16th chapel? It's a bit embarrassing. I actually just came back from Rome and I saw it for real. And it was really one of the impressive moments because it's just on this ceiling where so many artworks, so many pieces of art are surrounding that. And this here is right in the center, saying that the human being is the center of all creation. And it's a certain kind of centrism. And creationism, in particular, tries to preserve this kind of thought against the crazy idea of evolution that Darwin came up with. And I'm not entirely sure, but this seems to be a caricature, how humans actually evolved from worms into more and more ape-like entities, animals, and then finally became the human being that eventually evolved from a caveman into Darwin, into the center of the spiral. Now, I cannot really say how this picture is meant. It seems they make fun of the possibility of such an evolution. I remember my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, she was once invited to some Witnesses of Jehovah, I think they are called, and she had a boyfriend there, and they invited her for dinner, and then they asked her if she believes in evolution. Somehow they talked about it, and suddenly everybody was laughing about her because they were so surprised that she really believes we originated from apes. And in fact, like all of our scientific understanding is somehow transported in terms of beliefs, right? We rarely seek out evidence for it. And so is creationism such a crazy theory? Not necessarily. It was for a very long time believed. Now, I'm not a creationist, but I'm also not saying that people who believe it are flat out stupid. Although I believe that the overwhelming scientific evidence points to the direction of evolution. I'm not an expert on that. I just decide to believe the expert authority on that and not saying like that I am a genius who can go against that kind of science mainstream position. I say science mainstream, I mean mainstream position. So, yeah, but I like to look into this, and actually the Wikipedia page seems to be quite good on it. So creationism is the idea, or actually let's start with the Stanford article on that. There is, of course, the debate over creationism. The vast majority of philosophers agree that creationism has significantly less evidence in its favor as compared to the abundant evidence in favor of evolution. They also agree that creationism ought not to be taught in a public school science classroom, but they sometimes disagree over the reasons why. For example, is it because it fails some criteria of science? If so, which criteria? Or is it because of the lack of evidence? Or is it because of its religious basis? Debates over, I think this is another question here. And yeah, so it's unclear why we should actually reject creationism. And the Wikipedia article, like I feel the Stanford Encyclopedia is really the central address where you should go if you have questions with regard to philosophical topics. They have very well researched articles, and there's also this year on creationism itself. The other one was on evolution. And then we have here indeed the history of creationism. Maybe I look into that a little bit more in detail, but this I don't want to read today. I just want to go into the superficial characteristics. It's actually interesting because, and we will talk about that in another streaming, but John C. Whitcomb, that's actually the father of a professor in Pittsburgh that who I visited often. I visited his Bible studies, and he writes a biography about him, and he told me a lot about his father. And I mentioned that because I want to show off, of course, but also because it was impossible to discuss with him because he had just expert knowledge, and I had too little knowledge about evolution. So, and he was a professor for medicine, quite an expert in his field, well regarded at one of the really good universities for that, also teaching at Carnegie Mellon. So I was not able to debate him. So, and what does that mean? What does that mean for our position? So let's read a little bit the Wikipedia article because I feel it's a little bit better for a beginning. So creationism is the religious belief that nature and aspects such as the universe, earth, life, and humans originated with supernatural acts of divine creation. In its broadest sense, creationism includes a continuum of religious views which vary in their acceptance or rejection of scientific explanations such as evolution that describe the origin and development of natural phenomena. The term creationism most often refers to belief in special creation, the claim that the universe and life forms were created as they exist today by divine action, and that the only true explanation are those which are compatible with the Christian fundamentalist literal interpretation of the creation myth found in the Bible's Genesis creation narrative. So that's a kind of special creationism, right? So since the 1970s, the most common form of this has been young Earth creationism, which posits special creation of the universe and life forms within the last 10,000 years on the basis of flood geology and promotes pseudoscientific creation science. From the 18th century onward, and I will, well, they just have something on what is pseudoscience is. That's actually also an interesting article that I should look into. So from the 18th century onward, old Earth creationism, I will open that too. So accepted geological time harmonized with Genesis through gap or day-age theory while supporting an anti-evolution. Modern old Earth creationists support progressive creationism and continue to reject evolutionary explanations. So progressive creationism is the religious belief that God created new forms of life gradually over a period of 100 millions of years. As a form of old Earth creationism, it accepts mainstream geological and cosmological estimates for the age of Earth, some tenets of biology. So I guess old Earth creationism, well, didn't they say? Yeah, I guess that's the question, what is a day? Yeah, what is a day, and was the 7 days a much more longer time? Modern old Earth creationists, modern old Earth, so the new old Earth creationists, support progressive creationism and continue to do, yeah, okay, I just read that, right? Following political controversy, creation science was reformulated as intelligent design. So intelligent design is that, I guess, like it's a deist idea. Deism is that God created Earth and then retreated and let it happen to the plan that was already included in the beginning. So proponents claim that certain features of the universe and living things are best explained by intelligent cause. So mainline Protestants and the Catholic Church reconcile modern science with a faith in creation through forms of theistic evolution. Evolutionary creationism is a view that God acts and creates through laws of nature. Here God is taken as the primary cause, while natural causes are secondary, positing that the concept of God and religious beliefs are compatible with the findings of, I guess, modern evolutionary theories. So let's see here, some groups call, yeah, okay, less prominently, there are also some members of the Islamic and Hindu faiths who are creationists. Use of the term creationist in this context dates back to Charles Darwin, unpublished 1842 sketch draft for what became On the Origin of Species, and he used the term later in the letters to colleagues. In 1873, Asa Gray published an article in The Nation saying a special creationist who held that species were supernaturally originated just as they are, by the very terms of his doctrines, places them out of the reach of scientific explanation. So yeah, I find that interesting that we have here like already different forms, and here they even compare it in a nice table. So we have, okay, let's look through it, okay? So we have, sit in the way. I turn myself off. I don't have to be seen all the time, right? So we have young Earth creationism. That means the world is directly created by God, and that's also for gap creationism. Now, what is that, gap creationism? Let's look at it. A form of old Earth creationism that posits that the 6 yom creation period, as described in the book of Genesis, involved 6 literal 24 hours, but that there was a gap of time between 2 distinct creations. Okay, so they think there are really 7 days of 24 hours. So directly created by God, macroevolution does not occur. So macroevolution is not the small forms of evolution that we observed before, but macroevolution, so small evolutionary processes of like different races in dogs or something, but not that apes become humans at some point. So according to young Earth creationists, Earth is less than 10,000 years old and reshaped by a global flood. And gap creationism says, it accepts the scientific accepted age. So I guess we're like something like 16 billion years old, but there was also reshaping by a global flood. And then the age of the universe is less than 10,000 years. So this is young Earth creationism. But again, what then is old creationism? It's not here. So progressive creationism is the religious belief that God created new forms of life gradually over a period of 100 millions of years. It seems they have like a wavering terminology. I don't know what that means, but my professor used to say that. I guess it means they have like many terms that seem to not be explicitly defined and clearly defined. So directly created by God based on primate anatomy. So wait, humans, right? Humanity is directly. And the biological species are direct creation and evolution, no single common ancestor. So we don't have a common ancestor, okay. So, and then Earth is scientifically accepted age, no global flood. Okay, there's no flood. And they all accept the age of the universe now, okay. Then we have intelligent design. Proponents hold various beliefs. Example is Michael Behe, an American biochemist, accepts evolution from primates, okay. And he thinks there is divine intervention. Again, that's about biological species. At some point in the past, as evidenced by what intelligent design creationists call irreducible complexity. So this is the idea that something only works when all parts are in their place. If there's one part not in its place, it stops working. So therefore, like these complex mechanisms that we see in biology, according to their opinion, could not evolve. So some adherents accept common descent, others not. Common descent, that humans are originating from animals, I guess. But here, didn't it say accepts evolution from primates? So I don't know what then common descent is. Oh, maybe primates are special, I guess. So some claim the existence of Earth is the result of divine intervention. Okay, so Earth is also like somehow God interfering. So theistic evolution, evolution from primates, then evolution from a single common ancestor, and scientifically accepted age, no global flood. That's very interesting, right? Anyway, wasn't there something I wanted to... Irreducible complexity. That seems to be an interesting article. Now, where did I put it? This is pseudoscience, old Earth creationism, and then we have here irreducible complexity. I just wonder whether they have like some videos. I think some videos showed actually quite well, but maybe we don't. But definitely also an interesting article. And here we have the I argument again. Yeah, the I is so complex it cannot have just evolved. Okay, anyway, let's go on with the article. So, young Earth creationism. Ken Ham, Australian fundamentalist, okay, and science teacher living in the United States. Okay, and then we have Doug Phillips. So they seem to be very important and believe that God created the earth within the last 10,000 years with a literalist interpretation of the Genesis creation narrative with the approximate time frame of biblical genealogies. Most young earth creationists believe that the universe has a similar age as the earth. Yeah, I mean, it should be all clear by now, right? Okay, here we have old earth creationism again. Let's read that again, because it seems I get something wrong. Old Earth creationism holds that the physical universe was created by God, but that the creation event described in the book of Genesis is to be taken figuratively. This group generally believes that the age of the universe and the age of the Earth are described by astronomers and geologists, but the details of modern evolutionary theory are questionable. Okay, so I understand. So young Earth creationists are the hardliners here. They say it's everything exactly as it is in the Bible. Okay. And then, okay, these gap creationists, we talked about it. Day-age creationism is a metaphorical interpretation of the creation. So, okay, then I guess they don't say it was exactly 24 hours. It was like, that's just a metaphor for us to understand that. Progressive creationists, we also have them, but they still reject macro evolution. Yeah, so the large scale structures. It means that we develop traits that make us a completely different species, like tigers and worms. They have very little in common. Okay, so this is like a good introductory article, and there's so much to dive into. No arguments made, but we see a little bit of the field that we are encountering today. Now, the question is a little bit like, exactly, that's actually what I wanted to look. What is the prevalence? Yeah. Like how many people do actually believe it? And here we have a very interesting graphic, as it seems. Let's read the interpretation first. So most vocal literalist creationists are from the US, and strict creationist views are much less common in other developed countries. According to a study published in Science, a survey of the US, Turkey, Japan, and Europe showed that public acceptance of evolution is most prevalent in Iceland, Denmark, and Sweden at 80% of the population. There seems to be no significant correlation between believing in evolution and understanding evolutionary science. Okay. So if I read that right, is many people believe in it, but they don't know what that means. Okay. Then Australians, 23% of Australians believe in the biblical account, and then 42 believe in wholly scientific explanation, while 32 believe in evolutionary process guided by God. So yeah, we have here really still a large spectrum, right? So Brazil, 47% creationists, and believe that human beings were in fact created by special. I really wonder like where you can find China here. Let's see. So Canada, 61% believe in evolution, and it seems they believe we come from singular cells. And 2009, Canada were asked if they believe creationism should be part of the school curriculum. And they said 38% said yes, 39% said that it should not be, and 23% were undecided. So how does it look in Europe? Okay, they distinguish here different parts. South Africa, 56% creationists. South Korea, okay, this is just about whether it should be taught in school. But I honestly, I wonder, like, what is the belief in China? But like, unfortunately, they don't have that here. But let's look at the neat graphic we just found, right? So let's look at the graphic here. So response to the statement, human beings as we know them developed from earlier species of animals. Now, true. So okay, let's understand that. So humans come actually from animals. True, not sure, false. So Turkey, a lot of people say it's false. More than in the US. So Turkey, yeah, well, Islamic country, right, I guess. Then Latvia, Bulgaria, okay, Greece, Croatia. Yeah, I mean, Croatia is also Poland, quite, yeah, well, they have a lot of like um, Catholic Christians, right? Then Italy, and we see here actually the belief grows and grows and grows. Unfortunately, we don't see Germany. I would have been interested in Germany, how it is there, because I am from Germany, right? And I would also like to see how that is in Asian countries. That would definitely also be interesting. Let's look up whether they have Germany here. No. Yeah, unfortunately, no Germany. Well, so I hope this was quite informative. Question about creationism. Yeah, I wish we would all come to a more scientific mindset. Now, are creationists non-scientific? Well, I know a lot of people who are creationists who are, on the other hand, good scientists. Should we become philosophers? If you're a philosopher, does it mean you have to believe in evolution? Maybe not. But you should definitely not believe in creationism either. There's not enough evidence. And probably I would say you should come to the conclusion that you rather follow what science says, while it still could be false. Now, I don't believe in divine intervention. Intelligent design, I mean, maybe there is a plan in the universe. I mean, where does it originate from? What was the universe before it was the universe? I mean, these questions seem to be unanswerable, as Kant says, but we are constantly plagued and bothered by it. Now, however, on large, I tend to believe that we rather exist by chance. It was very unlikely that we became ourselves, and here we are. And I think that as unlikely as it was, there were by now 7 billion people who became who they are, entering a mind. And so it's probably likely, not saying certain, that even if we die and we are 7 billion years nothing, trillions, quadrillion years nothing, that the moment for us that we close our eyes, that our senses stop, it's the same moment that we start sensing again. Because nothing during such a long time period remains to be nothing. But yeah, this is just like a belief, right? It's not knowledge. Could also be that the universe enters a heat death, and that whatever we have been, if we have been something more than just a fluctuation of matter introduced by chance. Yeah, that, yeah, if the universe enters heat death, that we enter this eternal nothing too. So I don't know. Thank you very much for watching. If you like that, subscribe. Live long and prosper until you are nothing.